Hi, my name is Lee Heron. I'm a personal injury lawyer here in Florence, South Carolina, and this video is worth $25,000. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. This is about something you probably never think too much about. This is about automobile insurance. I want to talk to you about three main types of automobile insurance here in South Carolina. The first type of automobile insurance is liability insurance. Now, what liability insurance does is if someone hits you or hits one of your family members, causes a car accident, and let's say you go to the hospital, the other person's insurance company will have to pay for your medical bills. If you miss time off from work, had to pay for your lost wages, and they'll also have to compensate you for your pain and suffering. That's what liability insurance does. The other person is liable for your injuries, so their insurance company will pay for all that. Well, have you thought about this? What about if the other person doesn't have automobile insurance? Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, in South Carolina, if you have insurance, if you have automobile insurance, you have what they call uninsured motorist coverage, or UM insurance coverage. Now, uninsured motorist coverage means what it sounds like. If someone hits you, causes an accident, and they are uninsured, your insurance company will step in and act as their insurance company because they are uninsured. And in South Carolina, the mandatory minimum insurance of liability coverage is $25,000. Well, it's also the mandatory minimum for uninsured motorist coverage. So if someone hits you that doesn't have insurance and you have coverage, you're going to have at least $25,000 in uninsured motorist coverage. Well, let me ask you this. What if somebody hits you and they don't have enough money to pay for your medical bills? I'll give you a quick example. Let's say someone hits you and puts you in the hospital overnight. We all know how expensive hospital visits can be. And let's say your medical bills are $30,000. Let's say you miss a couple weeks off from work. You got $2,000 lost wages. You have $32,000 that's out of your pocket for an accident you didn't cause. And let's just say, for example, the other person has the mandatory minimum insurance of $25,000. Well, guess what? Guess how much money you get from them? You get $25,000. So just do the math real quick. You've got $32,000, you got $30,000 in medical bills, you got $2,000 in lost wages, you get $25,000, you're still $7,000 in the hole. Now some of you might say, well, can I sue the other driver to get my money? And I say absolutely. You can pretty much sue anybody for any reason. But let me ask you this. Do you think someone that can only afford the minimum insurance of $25,000 is going to have an extra $7,000 laying around to give you? And the answer is unfortunately not. And most people are what they call judgment proof. There's nothing you can possibly do legally to get any money from them. So in that situation, if they've got $25,000 and you've got $32,000 in medical bills and lost wages, you're stuck. Well, luckily, and what this video is about, is UIM insurance. UIM, and please don't get it confused with UM. UM, remember, is uninsured. UIM is underinsured motorist coverage. If someone hits you and does not have enough money to properly compensate you, not only for your medical bills and your lost wages, but keep in mind, you also get money for your pain and suffering. So if someone hits you that does not have enough insurance to properly compensate you, then your insurance steps in. And if you have the mandatory minimum in South Carolina, $25,000, you have to make sure you have UIM coverage, because UIM coverage will provide another layer of protection for you and your family in the event of an automobile accident. So let's go back to our situation. Let's say the other person hits you, you got $30,000 in medical bills, you got $2,000 in lost wages. The other insurance company will send you $25,000. Now you will go to your insurance company and you say, hey, I paid for this underinsured motorist coverage. Now I want it. Then you have another $25,000. So instead of being $7,000 in the hole in the first situation when you don't have any underinsured motorist coverage, now there's a potential of you having $50,000 in coverage. Now keep in mind, we keep talking about medical bills and lost wages. That's just two parts of your claim. You still need to be compensated for your pain and suffering. What if you have a torn meniscus in your knee? What if you have a bulging disc in your neck as a result of the accident? These things can give you problems for the rest of your life, and you deserve to be compensated for those problems. So that's where your pain and suffering comes in. So please, after you watch this video, because I can tell you, as great as my job is, the thing that really sucks about my job is when I have to tell good people just like you that there's not enough insurance coverage to properly compensate them. And that comes up more times than I would like. And the reason it comes up is because a lot of people, and it's probably people watching this video, a lot of people do not have underinsured motorist coverage. Now, it does cost extra, no doubt about that. But if you call your insurance company up and you price it, it is very, very cheap, especially given the fact that you're going to get at least another $25,000 in available coverage. And please keep in mind, this $25,000 in UIM can go up. These insurance companies, most of them sell the mandatory minimum in South Carolina is what they call $25.50. It's $25,000 in coverage, $50,000 per accident. You can get as much coverage as you could afford. They usually go $25.50 is the first layer, then they go $50, $100, $250, $500. You can get as much insurance as you could afford, and I would suggest to you, to protect you and your family, to call your insurance company up. First of all, find out how much coverage you have, and if you could afford to bump it up to the next layer of coverage, do that. But please, please, and this is why this video is worth $25,000 to you, make sure you have underinsured motorist coverage. Now I'm going to tell you something that you probably already know. Personal injury lawyers like me are a dime a dozen. But the thing that separates me from most personal injury lawyers is ever since I became a lawyer, one of the last things I do before a client leaves my office, I take out one of my business cards. And on the back of that business card, I write down my personal cell phone number. I give it to the client and I say, look, if you ever have any problems, if you ever have any questions, feel free to call or text me at any time. Shouldn't your personal injury case get that kind of personal attention? If you've been involved in an accident, give me a call at 888-9REC9. It's a free consultation. If we don't recover anything, you don't owe anything. So give me a call at 888-9REC9, and I'll make sure your personal injury case gets the personal attention it deserves.